Alright, so we're on this 2010 Chevy Malibu. The wipers aren't working. I tried to activate it from the inside of the car, and the wiper fluid's coming out, so that part's working, but the actual wipers aren't moving. And he had said he heard the wiper motor when he turned it on, but I don't hear it. So we're going to get down to the wiper motor and take a look at it and see if it's a wiring problem or the actual motor. I went ahead, this plastic piece here has a couple body clips on it. They look like this. So just get a pair of dikes or side cutters and pull those up. And then the wipers have two 15 millimeter nuts. Well, it has these caps on there too. You got to pull this cap off, and then you got these two 15 millimeter nuts, and then you got to pull the wiper off. You might be able to pull it off by hand, but I use one of these wiper removers. They work pretty good. They're not too expensive. If you get one at an auto parts store or whatever. And it keeps anything from getting damaged or whatever. So here's the tool. It's basically just like a almost like a two-jaw puller. This goes around here, around the wiper, and then there's a bolt that runs through that touches the stud, and it pulls the wiper off. So I'm going to go ahead and take the other side off real quick. Then we should be able to pull off this plastic. We should be able to pull off this plastic cowling here and see the motor. Alright, so on the driver's side here, I couldn't really get this tool in there without the hood's in the way. So I went ahead and marked the hood with a Sharpie and took it loose so I could get this tool in there. The reason being is I don't like prying on these arms. You don't want to mess up the wiper transmission. And the other reason is your windshield's right there, so if something slips or goes wrong or you pry on the wrong spot, you could crack a windshield. So I didn't take any chance with this. So I went ahead and, like I said, marked the hood, took those two bolts out, lifted it out of the way for a second, got the wiper motor off with the wiper arm off with this, and windshield's fine. So you take off a couple clips here in the front, and then this should peel out of the way. And now we're down to our wiper motor, which is right here. And we got 4 wires. And what I'm going to do is just pull a wiring diagram real quick and see which one's power. I mean, I've got a feeling I know, but we'll see which one's power and all that good stuff. We'll test it and see if that motor's any good. And if not, then we'll go about replacing the motor. And if it's a wiring problem, then we'll track that down. Alright, so I'm a dummy. I guess I don't know how to operate the switch on these. I went to go check power and grounds and turned the switch on and it started working. So the motor is running. I just didn't turn the switch on the right way the first time I checked it. So I'd already checked all the powers and grounds to this. They're good, but actually the motor runs. What happened is the wipers came off of the transmission. The wiper came off of the motor. There's some bushings in here. I'll get you in there and see if you can. I'll show you kind of what it's doing. Get you a little closer. Alright, so you can see there the motor is working, it's spinning. What's going on is it's not hooked to the transmission on the wipers themselves. There's a little rubber bushing that goes on there, and I guess it's wore out. So I'm going to try to locate that. Hopefully I can find it without having to buy like a whole new unit or something crazy like that. So anyway, that's what the issue is. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out, and then we'll take a closer look at it and see what we can find. Alright, so you got 3 bolts holding this wiper motor in. Go ahead and disconnect your electrical to the wiper motor. Just to pull up on this, and it'll release it. You got 3 10 millimeters, and I'm going the wrong way. And this should slide out like that. And what's happening right here is this bushing is wore out, and it came off the motor on the bottom here. It's got like a ball, and all it does is press back on. You can see it presses on real easy and comes off way too easy. So especially not now necessarily, but in the winter, if you had ice or anything get in here, it'd be real easy to pop this off. So I'm gonna look it up and see what we can find as far as what they have available for us to replace this stuff. So I'm gonna go do that real quick, and then we'll get back on it. Alright, so the compressor finally cut off on me. Anyway, once you get that grounded off there, just kind of elevate it somewhere where you can get to it, and then just tap it out, and that'll tap right out like that. So get a new one. Now make sure that you put these back in the way you took them out. So we just tapped it out this way, so we're going to flip it back over, and here's the new one. And you know, I'll be jiggered. You know, what's the saying? The sun shines on a dog's butt every once in a while, or broken clocks, right? Twice a day. I actually got these at my parts store. Didn't have to go to the hub. They didn't have to order them. Sometimes miracles do happen. Anyway, this is the Dorman kit, and it's 49452, and it's a wiper linkage bushing assortment for GM. So anyway, got that. What I did on the other one, I put a 16 millimeter deep well over it and just tap it in with a soft mallet, and you can see here they pop right in. And I'd already kind of buffed this off a little on the buff off wheel, cleaned it up before I popped them in, and this one's almost all the way in. There, now it's all the way in. So you can see here, like I said, when you put them on, just make sure you put them back in the same orientation. And we got two more on this for the long rod here. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I probably won't show that on camera. And so anyway, yeah, there may be other ways to get these off if you don't have a cutoff wheel. I just don't like beating on these too much, because this isn't real thick metal here, and I don't want to distort it or anything. So to me, the easiest thing is just to cut it off. And see, on the newer ones, they got splits here in the plastic, so you could get this one off a lot easier than you could. The factory ones don't have the splits in the factory in the plastic, so you'd have a real issue. You know, it's harder to get these off, so I just cut it off and then bang it out. So anyway, I'm going to replace the other two on this rod, and we'll put this back on there. This goes here, obviously. And then we'll put this thing back in and make sure everything works. Alright, so I got it set back in there. You may have to finagle a little bit to get it to go back in, but it's not too bad on these. So we're just going to go ahead and put the three 10 millimeters back in. Get her bolted down. Make sure you plug in your wiper motor before you put your black cover back on. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on and make sure it's rotating in there the way it's supposed to be. I don't see why it wouldn't be. And then once I double check that, I'll put the case back on, the wipers back on, and then we'll pick back up and I'll show you the wipers working or whatever. Like I said, I was hoping, well, not hoping, but I was assuming it was going to be an electrical issue, or I got all my tools out and didn't have to do that. So sometimes you can jump the gun. It was just my own dumb mistake, not knowing how to operate the switch in there. I just turned it instead of pulling it up and down. But Anyway, we got the bushings in there, all new ones, and I'm going to test it real quick, make sure it's rotating, and then we will put that cover back on and the wipers and go from there. Alright, so putting that plastic shield back on is the same way you take it off. You got the two clips, you got a couple body clips. Set it back in there, it kind of lines up. You'll see where it lines up on each side. I went ahead and put the hood back in. I had it marked and just bolted it back up. Pretty easy. Put your 215mm bolts in on your windshield wiper. Don't forget to put these little caps in here. You don't want rain getting down in there and rushing that thing onto the transmission, wiper transmission. That can be a big pain in the butt. So the only thing left at this point is to go ahead and make sure they work. So I'll go ahead and turn them on, make sure they flap on, test all the speeds. You can see they work. Alright, so that's good. Sometimes you can get away with somewhat easier, cheaper repair. So if you have a problem with your arms popping off on your wipers, and you can hear the motor going back and forth, but the wipers aren't doing anything, there's a real good chance that it just popped off and it's a bushing problem. So you can see here, it's not too hard to do. I do like using this tool to get them off, just because I don't like prying on the arms around the windshield and stuff. These ones, a lot of times when these ones that are kind of bolted in, they're real hard to pop off. Once they get that initial pop off, then they come right off, but they're seated on there pretty good. So if you're going to do that, just go ahead and get one of these tools. Pick it up one of the auto parts stores. They're not too expensive, and it makes life a little bit easier. You don't have to worry about breaking a windshield or anything. So that's pretty much it. That's replacing the wiper arm bushings on a 2010 Chevy Malibu. So I'm going to go ahead and give this back to the customer. He can get this hoopty back on the road. When it rains, he'll be able to see. And I appreciate you watching. I hope you subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.